Family, it's your boy DJ Leon D. I'm back. I'm tell you about my latest trip. Yeah, my latest trip was to Panama City, Panama. Not Panama City, Florida. Panama City, Panama. And I'm going to tell you right now, man, that's a pretty place to go. That's a pretty place to go. And that's a place that I might consider buying a place to live there. Because, it's a great jumping off place to go to other places in Central and South America. And plus, every big city got a good and a bad. Every big city. But, Panama City, Panama got everything I could want. It's a foodie city, definitely a foodie city, one of the best in the world. It's got all kind of things. You can get, Texas-style barbecue. You can get Carolina-style barbecue. You can get some of the best Hispanic food you ever going to eat. And you can get it on the street. You can go to a restaurant. Now, like I said, I always tell you the good and the bad about everything. And now let's start with the weather. The weather is great. Now you got a rainy season and you got a non-rainy season, as I call it. The rainy season is generally during the summer. I went and during the non-rainy season, but it's generally during the summer. But you will like Panama. Now, like I said, that's one of the good things. The other thing too, man, it's just a pretty city to see with all the high rises. It's just a pretty city to see with all the high rises. You got high rises everywhere. And you got parks that you can walk around, which is important to me because I like to exercise every day. And you can walk around a lot. Now, you got some they're wealthy by Panamanian standards. You got some wealthy suburbs like Coronado, some of the other places. But I may not live in Panama City, Panama, because I don't want to live in a high rise that's 50 stories up. That's one of the reasons. But the other reason is that I don't want to live around a bunch of expats. There's a shitload of Americans there. I'm not sure I want to live around all of them because I want to live in Panama City with the Panamanians. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to live in a place that's going to cost $100 a month, but I'm going to live in a decent place or a nice place. And I want to be around people that's going to force me to speak Spanish better. So I kind of like that a lot better than being around a bunch of Americans speaking English all day who really trying to re-gentrify Panama City for Americans. No, I just want to live around Panamanians, upscale or middle class Panamanians and just see what it's like. I want to get the real experience. I've never been the kind that say I'm going to go to a different country and make it American. Nah. I can just stay in America and do that. I want to go to where the Panamanians are and experience everything because it's a pretty city and it's got some parts that's not so pretty, but I can deal with that. I mean, it's not like, they got 5,000 death shootings a night. It's not like a Baltimore or some of the other cities. Well, Baltimore's better now, but it's not like a lot of the other cities with a lot of crime. Panamanians pretty much follow the rules, they follow the law. For the most part, you don't have any problems out of it. It's not like Cologne where everything looks dingy and dusty and torn down and it look like they should just rebuild the entire city. No, Panama is on the up and coming and it's got everything. And you can use the dollar penny for penny. It's the exact translation. One of their dollars equal one of our dollars, and you can use American dollars any and everywhere. So you ain't got to go to some ATM and get ripped off and all this and all that. Nope, just give them straight dollars, and you'll be all right. Now, housing is fairly cheap. But food is almost what it is here. Maybe it's just a little bit cheaper. And one reason is everything's imported. Now, I can stay busy in Panama City, Panama, because I can go to, the rainforest, the zoos. I can walk around and I got the beach. You got lots of beach and you got lots of sunshine. And like I said, you get sunshine almost every day, all day. And it does not get as hot as I had thought it did. It do not. It don't get nowhere near as hot as I thought it did. Now when it rains, it pours, but only for a little bit, but like I said, as far as amenities goes, you got everything there. You can go down to Panama and you can make it with nothing. You know, whether it's a food cart, whether it's a little mom and pop groceries, grocery store, you can make it with nothing in Panama. You can start, I've seen Panamanians, and not all of them, started off wealthy, but I've seen them work their way up. I talked to a few of them, and, in the stores and stuff, and they said, I started with the food cart, and as I made more money, whatever. I just moved on up as I made more money, as I got older, whatever, whatever. And plus, they got a great health care. You go to the doctor, you spend $10. That's it. $10. They got a great healthcare system. And it is as modern as you can get. It's as modern as anything in the States. Yes, it is. Because we had a guy with us, he had an injury. It cost like $140 total for everything. He actually broke a toe. But that was it. Go to the States and go to his doctor to see him. He's charging his health insurance, something like, $1,400. In Panama, it was $140. And Panama takes American health insurance as well. They take the Blue Cross Blue Shield. I know that for a fact. And I'm sure they take others too. I don't live in Panama. I visited for 2 weeks. I enjoy every single day of it. And, hotels were very, very reasonable price. They're a lot cheaper than the States. Probably 2/3, maybe half to 2/3 of the cost of the States. So, you win in, so you're winning already. So those are places that, that's one of those cities that I said, if I ever leave the States, and I'm not into the politics and all the other stuff, but I want a place that I can travel to other places, and I want a central place to do that from. I looked at Munich, Germany. I looked at Panama for this side of the world, Munich for Europe. And yet, when I look at Panama, the airport, goes everywhere. There's a plane going everywhere from Panama. I can go all over the world from Panama. You got some long flights, some places, but then again, the Caribbean's only an hour away. Central and South America is only a couple hours, maybe 3 at the most, away from Panama. So that's just one of the things that, I looked at real close and said, hey, this is a great location. And then when I went to visit, I said, hey, this is even better than what I thought it was. You can live upper class, spend a couple grand a month on rent, or you can spend, $1,200 and you still got a nice place. It's just how much do you want to spend and where you want to live. That's all Panama means. How much do you want to spend and where do you want to live? Because you can pick where you go from there. And all the flights are fairly cheap from Panama because of where it's located at. If I go to Central and South America, things are cheap as hell flight-wise. Under $1,000, I can go anywhere first class, not just on the plane, next to the pilot. Next to the pilot. We can be besties because I can afford to do that, and I would do that. But even going to Europe, it's still cheaper than going from Europe to the States. It's still cheaper. So I thought about that, and going from Panama to the Panama City to the States. Yeah, that's cheap too. It depends on how you want to travel. Do you want to go ultra luxury, or you want to go luxury, or you want to go economy? Depends on how you want to travel. Is how you decide, that for yourself and how big your pocket is. But I would definitely be going first class everywhere. Like I said, I'm not a budget traveler. I'm a traveler. And for some of the prices you see, you say, I can't beat this deal no matter where the hell I go to. And Panama fits that category. The food is great. It's definitely a foodie city. The food is great no matter where you eat at, on the streets. Hell, Panama, now, that's the good stuff. I'm going to tell you the bad stuff. Rainy season is one. Sidewalks, they're crap. Now, downtown in the expats area, or where the high-rise condos are, those sidewalks are nice. They're very, very nice because they're new. But if you go to outside that area, some of the old parts of Panama City, man, you might break your ankle if you ain't careful. You will break a damn ankle if you ain't careful. You gotta look at your steps. Downtown, you ain't gotta look at your steps. But you gotta look at your steps in some parts though. Because Panama got some old parts, and that's normally where the Panamanians live. You don't see a lot of them outside of work around those high rises because they are, people have priced out the local Panamanians in some of those places in some of those places. People have priced them out, which sucks for the local Panamanians, because a lot of people want to go down there and they think they're going to get stuff done at a third of the cost. That's not the case. Some things in Panama cost more than here because everything's imported. So some things cost a pretty penny. It is what it is, but you will see a lot of, I don't know if they're tourists or if they're on their pensionita visa where you can live there forever and get almost the same rights as Panamanians, but you can't work. So, but a lot of people, retirement money from the States goes a long way in Panama. I mean, a long way in Panama. So it all depends on you and how far you want your dollar to go. It all depends on you. But as far as most things in Panama, it's cheaper than the States. Most things are cheaper, like the fruits. The fruits are very, very cheap. I mean, you can go in there and just load up on fruits and vegetables. But some are imported, and you will see a price difference. A lot of the meat is imported. But I'm still going to buy briskets. I'm still going to buy steaks, no matter where I live at. I buy them in the States and buy them wherever I live at, whether imported, grown next door. Now, as far as things to do, they got Panama big on monkeys. And I hate monkeys with a passion. But, they're big on monkeys. So, you go to the zoos, I look at sloths. I look at things that I know move slow. I know that I can outrun this day and age. A few years ago, I could outrun a horse, but that's been about 40 years. It's been about 40 years. I'm not racing horses anymore. I leave that to the jockeys. But you can find things to do, and you always got the outdoors. Or you can just make yourself a pretty garden. Spend time, but you can always find something to do, make yourself busy. Panama is that kind of city, and you got all that sunshine. You can go to the beach. You can fly your drone. You can do all kind of stuff in Panama, and it's really, really, really it's not gonna sweat you to death, And like I said, the rainy season, it rains for a few minutes, very, very hard. Don't get me wrong, and then it's perfect again. And then you can always now. Panama is not a big state land-wise, but man, traffic moves so slow when you go between the major cities. Because they never invested a lot into roads, into infrastructure, but they do in the telecommunication world, and they got one of the best education systems in the country. They invest a lot of money in education. Education is free. College is free. They do it right. They do it right. So you see you can always see the kids doing things, and everyone's active. No one's really, really fat, unlike America, because they're not lazy people, because they tend to walk a lot, and which is what I like to do. So I don't have an issue or a problem with that. But you got food stalls everywhere. I'm talking about you got little pop-ups on the streets, and just you just try everything. If you go to the touristy areas, they're going to charge you touristy prices, which they should. But yet you can get anything that you can get in the States. I've yet to see anything. Hell, you can get Traeger grills, smokers down there. I've yet to see anything in the States I cannot get in Panama. When I was there walking around, I seen everything. Now, as far as cars goes, traffic is not bad. But they also got a great subway, above ground and below ground. They got a great subway. And so what? Let's talk about cars. You take your car, you pay a lot of money, take your car down to Panama. That's on you. Because we Ubered. Uber is super cheap. I'm talking, it's nothing like the States. You go 20 miles, you pay about maybe $4. Uber is super cheap. You get to a point, you got a choice. You can Uber, or you can hire somebody a car for the whole day. It's going to cost you $100, $200. Think about it. Gas costs gas. Because the price of gas is the same price it is here in the States. So you're not saving money on that. You pay money to import a car. But Uber is super cheap. And, it's not like the Panamanians don't make a decent living. It's just that they don't gouge you like they do in the States, where Uber wants you to give a tip before you get in the car. Nope. Or you can hire somebody to be a day driver, and he take you, for 8 to 12 hours, you got him the whole day. You can go wherever you want to go, and they'll wait outside. They'll wait outside of a store for you. Yep. They don't rip you off, But you don't need a car. If you bring a car, you're stupid, because between insurance and other things you're going to pay for, Uber is way under whatever you're going to spend, and Uber is on demand. You don't pay for a car that's sitting in your driveway because you're making monthly payments or whatever it is you're doing that's dumb. Uber got you all covered. And it's not like Mexico where you see an accident every corner and you see taxis just run people over. It's not like Mexico. No. Panama got laws and rules, and they actually go by them. They actually go by the rules and laws in Panama. So it's not a big deal. Panama, the federal government in Panama put all the money to Panama City. When you go to other cities in Panama, you can tell where all the money's going. It's going where they're making money at. Whether it's a hotel or Uber or whatever, that's where the government is investing the money in Panama. They're not spending any in Cologne. Matter of fact, they're probably sucking money out of Cologne from the tourist trade, from the cruise lines, and sending it straight to Panama City. Yeah. It's just sad because both of them got beaches and both of them are on the coast, just the opposite coast. But the government has a favorite, has a favorite child, and that favorite child is Panama City. They have a redheaded step kid named Cologne. But at the same time, you will sit there and you will enjoy, Panama City, walking. They got every restaurant, every type you're gonna want, and so it's very, very diverse. It's a foodie city. It's very diverse. It's very culturally innovative because it's got people from around the world. But when I say that, most of the people in Panama that are not Panamanian are from Western cities or Western countries, more or less. Yeah, because their wages is equivalent, whether it's retirement, there's a lot of retirees down there. Yes, there's a lot of people 1 foot in the grave. It's a lot of them there. Way too many. You go to Coronado Beach and some of the other places, oh, Jesus Christ. You would think you in Atlanta or Miami. And speaking of Miami, Panama is the Miami of Central America. It looks damn near the same. It is a pretty city. The skyline is pretty. It's got one of the best looking skylines in all of Central and South America, if not the best. I mean, it's not too big and it's not too small, but they got a pretty skyline though. And you will enjoy the skyline because the skyline has it going on. And they're building new buildings every damn day. I'd be thinking, how many are they going to build and how tall are they going to be? But some people, the builders making money. And some of them are hotels. You can live in hotels too. You're going to pay the money for it. You're going to pay money for it, but you can live there. They're not going to tell you no. But every day at the airport, you see a lot of us Americans going down to Panama, screwing up the economy. Yeah, you know how Americans are. We get everything right after we, fail at all the other options. Yeah. Winston Churchill said that. Americans get everything right after they fail at what they should have did first. But Panama is a place that if I was going to buy a place tomorrow outside the United States, it would be Panama. Without a doubt. I wouldn't even hesitate. I would just go there and buy something that's nice, something I want, something that I need. But it's just the convenience of it. And I love the weather. And the people are nice. The people are very, very nice. I didn't run into anything being rude. And you got people of all shades there. Whether they white, brown, black, green, yellow, whatever. They're all there in Panama. And they all seem to get along. So why can't that happen in other parts of the world? Well, because there's no dominant anything in Panama. You got more of this, more of that, but there's no 95% everybody's Japanese and got, yellow skin. There's none of that. You got skins of all types. You got a little everything in Panama City. That's what I love about it. And so that makes sure that you got a little food of all types. You want German food, you got German food. You want Texas barbecue, you got Texas barbecue. You want Carolina barbecue, you got Carolina barbecue. You want a New York steak, you got a New York steak. You got all that in Panama. Because every implant from a different area or migrant from different countries, they're all from different countries. Whether it's Europe, I didn't see a lot of Africans. I saw African Americans, but not a lot of Africans. Maybe because, to an American, $1,500 a month on rent or a mortgage is just nothing. And to Africans, depends on what country they're from, that could be a lot, or their retirement system don't cover that. I don't know. But if you get a chance, if you're going to go to any place in Central America, go to Panama. Do not hesitate. I'm not saying go live, even though after you go there, you may change your mind. I spent 2 weeks there, and it is great for everything I wanted to do. And it appears like it is one of the growing cities in the world for expats to relocate. It seems like it's one of the growing cities in the world for expats to relocate, because they're definitely relocating. And a lot of these relocation tours sell out fast as hell for Panama, at least for Americans anyway. And I'm sure that whatever language you speak, there's somebody in Panama who speaks that language, because when you look around, you see people from around the world there. And, it may be dominant American in some areas, but you got a lot of Europeans too. You got a lot of them. I saw some Asians, but not as many as, Canadians, Americans, well, all North Americans and Europeans, because, they want to get that relaxing sun and all the other stuff too. So take a chance, tell them your boy DJ Leon D sent you down there to go to Panama, to go, because you're interested in it. And like I said, it's pretty, great skyline. It's got everything I need. It's got everything. No place is going to have 100% of what I want. But as far as being modern, it's very modern. You got fast internet. You got all this other stuff. You got the same places you got here. You got the same stores, whether you want a Rolex or whether you want Target. They got something similar to both of them. And they actually got Rolex stores. They got some of the biggest shopping malls in America. The shopping malls are huge. You can spend a day, that's not my style of fun, is shopping all day. But you can spend a day easily shopping in Panama. So look at Panama. If you look at traveling anywhere outside the United States of America, look at Panama, and not from a cruise ship. Go there and visit like I did. So that way you get the real story, the real deal. Okay, this is your boy DJ Leon D. I'm out. We talking about Panama City. Panama, baby.